Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Luening, Horst Luening. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we have another FAQ. Well, I had been very busy over the holiday season, or before the holiday season, and during the holiday season it took a few days off. So there is, well, some backlog, and it's already several weeks that I had the last FAQs, and today I selected 4 FAQs, and the first one is with these Octave bottles from Duncan Taylor, and here on the label, I magnify it here in extra picture, is written bottle number 1 of 78. Wow, wonderful! I got the first one, so this has some additional value, a collector's item. No, not quite, because there is a, well, not that exact writing here on the label. It says bottle number 1 of 78, meaning this is one bottle out of 78, and all the labels on the bottles and on the card boxes show the exact number 1. So it's not that unique. It's just, well, in the past there had been several independent bottlers which, well, had individual numbering on their bottles, but the problem was you had to be very exact not to spoil a label, to have a scratch in it. It's wet when you put it on, and so it was quite difficult. And when this one label was off, was defect, scratched, crumbled, then, well, you can't sell that bottle, and you can't print a new one, a new label with that a single number, because too expensive. So you have this first you bottle, then you know, you have 378 bottles, and then you print individual labels with all the single numbers on it, and then you put it on the bottle, and then you have to have knowledgeable people which care, and well, there had been batches, not with this one, no, of course not, with other independent bottlers, where they put the wrong labels on bottles. In the end they had 20 left over because the batch was smaller, or the other way around. So they had to be careful. So today they bottle, they know the number of bottles, and then they print their label. And some of the independent bottles, like Signatory Vintage, they had a girl sitting at the bottling line and writing with a pencil very exact single numbers on the bottles. A lot of work. I don't know if people honored that. No idea. So today Duncan Taylor said, well, they will change that in the future, that the description is better, that you know that is one of this number. And here on this Ian MacLeod bottle, there's that number of bottles 488. So here it's completely clear how many bottles there are. So the second one was a question: how do I taste my whiskies privately? Yeah. First of all, I do not taste that many whiskies in privacy. No. Why? Because whenever I like to have a whiskey, I can sit here, have it, taste it, and just have the camera running. It's no particular stress on me after 1,500 or with all those other channels, 3,500 videos. So there's no longer any stress on me. So I can taste it here, I can taste it somewhere. And well, I also have to count the amount of alcohol, of my alcohol intake over the year, so that I do not have too much. And I try to stay at 50% of the average intake of the citizen. And this means that after the small amounts of whiskies I'm sipping here, they add up. Have 200 whiskies a year with all a centiliter, then you have a full bottle. I'm tasting those bottles again in another language, 2 bottles. Then I would like to have on a weekend a glass of wine, even more than whiskey, because wine you drink in glasses, not in drams. So I have to be careful. So there's very, very little chance or opportunity that I have a whiskey in private. Sometimes on vacations, and I see a particular bottle on the shelf in the bar in the hotel, I said, well, this one, and then I will have a special glass. I do not have my own Whisky.com glass with me, though I'm not that, whatever you call it. But I take a port wine glass, and then I have that one, and I typically do it the same way I'm doing here. First sniffing very long, and then sipping. And typically if you go to South Europe, then you get that fillings. I never finish those whiskeys. No. We just order one whiskey. I order one whiskey with my wife together. Yeah. Then there was a question in which accuracy the alcohol content of a bottle has to be written on it. So there is a law in Europe that you have to state just a single number, decimal number on the bottle. That's all. And the measurement equipment is quite accurate, so that there is not much in deviation between those measurements. So if there is a 52.7 on the label, you might have 52.6 something to 7.7 something up to 0.8, but that's all. There are several laws inside different countries how accurate the alcohol content really has to be. But if there is a 1/10 of a percent less or more in it, who cares? The next question with this was, how does the alcohol content in a bottle varies over time? So you have the angel's share from the cask. There are the staves and the lids are porous, and so there is alcohol evaporating during the maturation process, roughly between 0.5 and 1.5% every year. How much is evaporating out of bottle? Closed, probably once opened bottle, would it be that much? Well, you can have your own experiment. Just if a bottle is that full, have a pen, mark it on the back. Be careful that you have the right pen so that the mark will not go off if you somebody is cleaning the bottle from dust. And you will see there's no change at all. Well, probably if somebody else has access to that bottle for cleaning or whatever, it might reduce, but then it's due to the warmth of the person. Yeah. So there will be some change when the temperature of the bottle changes, because the expansion due to thermal changes between an alcohol-water mixture is quite high. So if you have it that full, and then during winter you put it outside, have it freeze or low freeze, don't care about cracking the bottle. It will be down to 30 degrees, minus 30 degrees centigrade. That's, I think, 0 Fahrenheit. It's no problem at all. There will be no freezing because there's so much alcohol in it. But you will see that the level will fall a lot. You have probably 1% of volume reduction if you cool it down to those temperatures. So it's significant. So if you see slight variations in the level in a bottle, that might come from different temperatures. You noticed the level before. Yeah, and there has been the last question, the question about the minimal prices for alcohol in Scotland. There had been a new law in Scotland which does not allow a dealer to sell alcohol below a certain value, depending on the alcoholic content. This is in bars, but as well on the shelves of the markets. And there was a question, how does this affect the prices of our whiskey? Not at all, because those minimum prices are so low that all those high quality whiskies we are having here on my cask and which are consumed on the other side of the camera, they are typically much more expensive than those minimum prices. So those minimum prices do not care at all. Well, one had been able to increase that by increasing the tax on alcohol, the duty. But the duty is already that high in the UK. It's around £35 per pure liter of alcohol. This is 3 times the amount you have in Central Europe. So it's incredible high in the United Kingdom already. Ireland as high as well. And you weren't able, well, they increased the prices and the consumption did not level out. No. So it was still too high, too low to show any effect. So they had to put prices on the individual dram in the bar and at the very, very cheap side. But people said, well, you can't take all the money for the state, and the dealer reduces in sales. And so they said, well, you can keep the money, but you have to have those minimum prices. This will compensate for the lack of alcohol you're selling. I think that's a good way to deal with that issue. Thank you for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. There will be more, as always.